Welcome to Zwartkops, the international raceway just outside of Pretoria West for the penultimate round of the Inland Championship. Wet race was declared right at the start of the day after some very tricky conditions up on the Highveld. Great to see some two-wheeled action joining the Inland Championship for the first time, and all this action is proudly brought to you by our associate sponsors.
It's round 8 of the Inland Championship, and today we're at Zwartkops Raceway. A little damp and there's still a threat of some more rain, but exciting day ahead. We're going to catch up with the Bardel Midval Historic Car Club, some superbike action from the Bridgestone Challenge and Sub-10s, and the usual contenders from BMW, Super Saloons and MPC. It is the penultimate round, so championships are tight, so today we may need to change our slogan to Real People, Serious Racing. Now we're going to talk to you a little bit about Bridgestone's tyres, and particularly a new road tyre that they've launched that is aimed at the performance market. It's called the Potenza Adrenaline RE003, which replaces the previous version, the RE002, which is what we ran our Bridgestone Challenge cars on 2 years ago, effectively taking race cars, putting them on road tyres and seeing how they perform, and actually did quite well. So part of the exercise of what we did is getting a set of the RE003s, fitting them to the club car. We went to Pakisa, which is notorious for being abrasive on tyres, to see what the difference would be between that and a conventional semi-slick, which is quite a popular choice in our series. So if you have a look at the RE003, particularly at the edges here, right on the edge pattern here, there's quite a bit of tread which you would normally not get in a road tyre. Very similar to what you have on the semi-slick, and what they've done here is made this section far more rigid and provide you with far more grip, so your initial turn in is a hell of a lot better, and that's something we found on the club car as well. You would expect on a road tyre normally you would understeer quite a bit, which we didn't. The grip levels were phenomenal. On the RE11S, which is, as I say, one of the most popular semi-slicks in motor racing, very different story. With a novice driver, that's myself, the difference between having a road tyre on the track car and having the RE11S on the track car was 1 second. The point being, you can get this tyre for any sort of performance car or even for a track car, drive it to a track day, go all day on the track day. I mean, these tyres survived Pakisa, which normally destroys tyres, drive it home again and come the next and the following weekend. Big upside though is if it's raining, one of the things that they've done with the RE003 is get the compromise between dry and wet handling a lot better than what it's been before. So you're as safe as you possibly can be, and you're still reasonably quick. So if you want to be the best, you need to fit the best, and that would be Bridgestone.
Join us after the break for the Bridgestone BMW Car Club Racing Series action from Race 1.
Up next, all the action from the Bridgestone BMW Club Racing Series.
And what action we've had all season long. I can tell you something is going to be even more here, because this is where it comes down to penultimate round time, and championship points are vital. You cannot afford to lose any.
Always fun with the BMW Car Club. I mean, great bunch of guys, awesome offer. I'm no good in rear-wheel drive, but I'm going to go have some fun regardless. At this point, I want to finish, start a trouble and not break anything, and hopefully go a little bit quicker than quali.
You can't ask for a better lady to be in that invitational category car, particularly at Zwartkops. And Miles Spur, once she gets used to that car, is certainly going to give these boys a good run for their money. They make their way out now for race number 1. Keep an eye out at the front end, because it's going to be familiaris. Unfortunately, with the only Class A car, he'll probably get away from everybody else. But Class B is going to be insane. And you can see already into turn 1. This is BMW Performance Corner, and we've got a big field of 17 BMWs headed down to turn 2. A good start coming out of the youngster there. Villiers Rasmus diving up the inside and getting into third place, just putting the Viking car behind him. And Rian Buss now with some work to do to try and find a way through on the youngster. They go side by side as they come out of turn 3 and down the back straight towards turn 4. You can see a little bit of a change up at the front end there as Buss has a go. trying to find a way through early on. Can he make it through there and see what he can do about that speed and sound car in front of him? But it's certainly got some speed. It sounds pretty good as well. But under braking, there is the Viking mining car squeezing through and finding a way up to third place. A bit further back here, Philip Smith having a fantastic dice. And 20 marks just ahead of him in the silver card. Silver versus gold here, the wrong way around. So Philip Smith, you're going to have to do some work there, buddy. Get that machine up ahead. Just behind, you can see them starting to sort things out there. As they come down onto the braking markers for G&H Transport Corner, it's Willie Erasmus who's now looking to return the favour. But he cannot get the power down. That wing on the back is certainly helping the big BMW of Rian Wust. Silver versus gold further back, and a little bit of inside information coming from JB. JB Britt looking to just squeeze out the gold car. But further back in the pack there, Jimmy T having some fun. He always has a great time out there, and at this stage, fighting hard. You can see with the 208 car, I can tell you something, Andreas Meyer is not an easy man to get past. Out front, great action as always, and you can see some changes as Paul Munro now is under attack. Munro, just opened up the door there for Wust, I think. Gave him a shot to go on the inside. Maybe he just wants to run with the pace and see if they can get up to Familiaris. I don't think that they've got that kind of pace. As they come onto that back straightaway now, Munro trying to come back at him. Wust hanging on for now. It's the Viking mining car versus the Ascona trading machine there in second and third. And these two absolutely high-flying to get away from Willie Erasmus and Andreas Meyer. In the mid-pack, Philip Smith under attack. Oh, good move there from Ball. Ball just squeezing up the inside and trying to find it. And has he been able to make it stick? It looks like he has. Yes, indeed. Super stuff there between the two of them down into turn 2. Speaking of turn 2, here comes some more action down towards turn 2. Hard on the brakes and, whoa, very close. The Marmot car there of Jan Everstein fighting at this stage with Lamprecht. Lamprecht now comes and returns the favour, goes on the inside. The two of them very evenly matched as they go onto that back straightaway. At the back end of the back straightaway, down into turn 4, the battle continues. You can see Andreas Meyer starting to make his way up rapidly and ticking off the cars one by one. He must have had some issues in the qualifying to be so far down, but he's literally got through the field very quickly. And the last car to be overtaken there, and 20 marks in the Atomic Oil BMW E46 M3. Ball still fighting hard. Craig Ball has had a good run this season, and he's having a good one here today. Here is Mel Spur. Mel Spur fighting as the leader just comes up onto her back end. Mel will definitely know exactly what to do there and gives him lots of space. Julian Familiaris lapping Mel Spur, but loving life out there in the BMW Car Club entry. Craig Ball on the inside of him, 20 marks. RSI versus Atomic. Who's going to come out with the better option here up towards the top end of this race circuit? And at turn 5, you've got to have that inside line, and that's exactly where Craig Ball has put his car. Perfectly done, and squeezes through. Mark's going to come back at him though, trying to go around the outside of Kenwood. But here comes Philip Smith. Philip Smith in the gold machine there, looking for a chance. Can he get through? That high-Q car is certainly looking pretty good here. And they think, Ball's got a problem. Ball slows up down that main straightaway. And both Marks and Smith go left to avoid him. Only just avoiding the slowing RSI car. Just behind them, you can see coming through there Shane Krobler in the Mayfair gearbox machine. And looking pretty tasty there in that turbocharged BMW. Coming to the closing stages now. No worries at all for Julian Familiaris. He had no one to really play with today. And it was literally fighting against the clock. A great time there from him. He takes the win in Class A. Class B eventually went to Wust, ahead of Munro and Erasmus. Class C, Marks, Smith and Krobler, the top 3. Jan Everstein beat Mel Spur. Let's find out from her how her first race in BMWs went.
I had lots of fun, a little bit lonely obviously at the back end all on my own there, but it was lots of fun. When the guys come through, they're absolute gentlemen, great to race with them. I'm living in hope I did a better time, and I brought it home in one piece and didn't break it. So if I've got 2 out of the 3, the time will just be a bonus to add to the 3rd.
It's been a long time since I've raced, so I'm a bit like a rusty old gate, but that was good fun, really good fun. Rian was at the end of the day too quick for me, so he took me in turn 2 on the brakes, but I had good fun. It was really good.
I've got to disagree a little bit with Paul Munro there, because the last time I saw him in action, he was fighting against the clock down at the Desi's Time Attack event. So yes, he wasn't racing against racing cars, but he certainly has got what it takes to put that BMW of his pretty high up in the overall standings. And right now, he looks pretty good down there in 5th place. As they come down on the braking markers, you can see a bit of work to do there for Meyer. He goes side by side with the 9.6 car of Lamprecht. Lamprecht shouldn't be too much of an issue, but as they come through there, look out for the pullman. Ars Bagioni starting to put in a little bit of early race pressure right from the word go. Monroe already looking to go on the inside of Erasmus as they go into 4. Erasmus shuts the door. A little bit of smoke out of Erasmus's car. That could be a concern a bit later on. Let's see what happens there. On the tail comes Wust, and here comes Andreas Meyer. Up onto the braking markers. A good start there from JB Britt. Britt hanging on just behind Craig Ball. It looks like they've got that car sorted out as well. So this Class B battle now has all the usual contenders and one new man to the little front end battle there. That would be Monroe. Coming out of Mix FM corner now, down onto the braking markers. You can see it's Julian Familiaris. We won't worry about him too much because he's going to literally dominate the race at the front end for Class A. Further back in the field though, look at that, Buggioni out in front of Smith, and Smith this time has reversed the roles on the gold and silver cars. The Haiku car leading things out there and looking for a chance to take the win ahead of Anthony Marks. Nice move there from Monroe, just dived up the inside. Wasn't quite able to carry the speed because the door was shut, so he had to roll out of it ever so slightly. But here they go up to the top of the hill. Side-by-side action. It's JB on the inside of Ball. Can he keep it under braking? They're still side-by-side as they come out of Sassel. And now heading into the double right-hand at Kenwood. There's a move. The Viking mining machine of Wust capitalizing on the open door and goes through. Whoa, what is going on there? Jimmy T! Whoa, Jimmy T in the middle of the circuit. Looks like he was just out of gears or something there. Couldn't quite get going. And unfortunately, Troy Cochran had to come around the outside of him and got a little tag from behind. Jimmy T resumes his race, but he's now right at the back, but one. Mel Spur probably just staying out of trouble. They're saying, no, I'm not going to get involved in that. I don't want anything to do with T and any of his maneuvering that he's doing in the SA Safe car. Now heading down into turn 1. Look at Andreas Meyer. Big pressure being applied there onto the back end of Monroe. Monroe goes defensive. Ball goes defensive as well. Yo, it was literally 3 cars on the inside line, keeping the other 3 cars on the outside line at bay there into turn 2. One of them was JB Britt, one was Monroe, and one was Craig Ball. He has a move on the inside, Lamprecht. Good dive, and gets through on the Mahmoud car there of Everstein. Jan Everstein had no answer there. Here comes the move as well, just from behind. Keep an eye on Osbagioni fighting hard there, and Jimmy T. Jimmy T under braking. He's out of shape. Oh, and just threads the needle. Well seen, Jan Everstein. How he avoided the spinning Big Boss auto car, only he knows. That could have ended up in tears for a lot more drivers than just Jimmy Temeglu. Around the outside, it's Monroe. He gets ahead of JB Britt now as they head into Kenwood. Can he keep it all together through the left-hander? That should just cement that maneuver, and it does. Incoming. Big move there from the 25 car. Buggioni definitely on the attack. Forcing some evasive and wide driving out of turn 4 from Sean Lamprecht. Lamprecht fighting hard though. These two having a really great battle. This, of course, is for about 3rd and 4th place in Class C, so no holds barred here. The second of the Viking cars on the back end of the Pullman. By a Pool Maintenance on the side of that white BM. Gold and silver, that must mean Smith and Marks, and they're still at it. Great to see action between these two, and such close action as well. Ooh, a little missed gear there maybe from Smith. As he goes around the outside of turn 1, he's going to have enough space out there. He's going to keep him on the inside for turn 2. So good driving there from Smith. The Haiku car being positioned perfectly to ensure that Anthony Marks could not get through there in the Atomic Oil BMW. Down on the breakers for the final time into G&H Transport Corner. And here we go. A double win on the day for Julian Familiaris. And just cementing some more valuable championship points. It's going to be Wust to take 2nd overall. But first in the Class Bs, Monroe. Pushing him right to the limit and to the line. Great effort there from Philip Smith to beat out Anthony Marks this time ahead of Osbagioni, and Jan Everstein, the only Class D competitor in race 2.
I came to the tabletop, and just before the tabletop I lost control. I tried to miss everybody, and then as I gained control again going up, I got clipped going past, and it's an unfortunate racing incident, but that's how it goes.
Yeah, happy with 2 first places, but pity Troy broke in the first, and he had an incident in the second, so not really a great challenge from him, but which was what I was looking forward to. The rain stayed away, which I'm both ways on rain, so yeah, it was a great day, and tight in the championship. I think Rion has also won his both races, so we go to the last race and we go for it.
Championship up for grabs there. More action coming up next with the Big Boss Auto Super Saloons.
Let's catch up with the Big Boss Auto Super Saloons.
In the Super Saloons, Devon Robertson basically the class of the field in the Corvette, but there's lots of action just behind him. Stoltz, Britt and Draper are certainly going to be fighting hard now for first race victory here at Zwartkops.
So far I'm happy with the results and stuff. Still is a little bit of sort out work for next year, but at this stage we're happy. Today is going to be wet. Qualifying, as soon as you want to try to get into high boost, it slips all around, so qualifying didn't go so good as I want to, but hopefully we come from back and make the race interesting.
The car is going well. Today with the weather going a bit down, the car is feeling good. We're leading the championship now. So we're just hoping to get the points in the bag today and get it to the end. Yesterday we had a dry session, so the car was set up for a perfectly dry. Coming to just before 10 minutes before the session, I had to do some adjustments, but yeah, it played in our favour to get a good quali.
It's always good to be at the front end in qualifying, particularly if you're just behind Devin Robertson and try and use the pace of that Big Boss Auto Corvette initially. Let's see if JB Brett is going to be able to do that. On the inside though, hello, sure, there's no holding back there. And you can see Zwartkops is not holding back at all. Maurice Jackson will go on board with him as they go through turn 1 now into turn 2. The space frames starting to sort themselves out there. In the middle of those space frames, Eugene Koos in the Master Mowers Chevy Can-Am. And he's going to have to fight hard with those slightly lighter cars. A couple of turbo Golfs in there too. So we'll just keep an eye on all of them, particularly the one there of Giles Derrick in the EV Dynamics colours as he heads onto that back straight away. Things starting to sort themselves out here in that mid-pack, and look out for Stoltz. He, of course, is in the 777, and that's a Mazda RX-7, heading up and looking to come back at Zwartkops. I think Zwartkops might have been caught out there with a jump start. We'll have to keep an eye on that one and see what the COC says. But the AAA man right now in third place. It's AAA versus 777, as Stoltz tries to come back at him. Look at the big flame out of that RX-7 as it comes out of Mix FM corner. Heading down the hill and on his tail, JB Brett just behind them, fighting hard. You can see it's Koos, and keep an eye on Rion Draper as well, who'll be looking to come through the field pretty rapidly. So get underway here for lap number 2. Oh, a big dive on the inside. Stoltz not able to make it stick this time, but certainly had a big look. See if we can keep it all together now for the next couple of corners. Rion Draper closing in rapidly though. Draper going slightly wider, going to come back on the inside. Maybe follow Stoltz as he goes on the inside. Can he get the power down? No, it doesn't have quite the same power as that RX-7. Look at the acceleration of that RX-7. That's pretty impressive stuff. Coming out of turn 2, flat out through turn 3, and just keeping it all together there. Further back, fighting hard is Darby Faree and Richard Cooley. Richard Cooley starting to make his way through as well in an RX-8. Another version of the Mazdas out there. And around the outside goes Stoltz for second place. The ELB man, unfortunately losing out there, and JB Brett drops back to third in the Nissan 300ZX. He's had a busy day, fighting not only here in the 300ZX, but also in his BMW. Side-by-side action, that is great to see. No holds barred. Draper on the outside, Nokia on the inside, closing in, and Zwartkops is in trouble. They are going to get there. There's a three-way battle now in the space frames. As they get up onto the breakers into Sassel. It could be days numbered there. And let's see what's going to happen between these two. Right now, JP hangs on, but Draper is giving him what for as they go through Kenwood. Flick it through Mix FM. Closing in now on our man, who's possibly under a jump start. We still haven't got confirmation on that, but definitely going to be under the scrutiny of the COC. They're also starting to close in on that 300Z. So I think JB Brett is going to be watching those rearview mirrors over the next couple of laps to ensure that these three space frames don't catch him. We've got a Peugeot, we've got a Tigra, and we've got the Audi TT not too far behind them there of Maurice Jackson. And in fact, Jackson can just see these guys fighting hard and could potentially close in. It looks like, a little change up here. Yes, indeed. JP just finding a way through, gets past on Zwartkops, but Draper's been dropped slightly. So Rion Draper here in the closing stages had some problems. He comes back now as they come through Mix FM, but heading up the top of the hill towards Sassel, he was quite a way back. And now there looks like there's issues there on Zwartkops' car. Zwartkops now falling by the wayside. Oh, there's Draper eventually diving through and finding a way to the front end, and now into second place for the space frames. There comes Jackson in the background. I told you that TT was not too far back. And in fact, if you look a little bit further back than that, Devin Robertson rapidly coming through this field. Robertson in the Big Boss Auto and Liqui Moly Corvette, as we see Cooley still fighting hard with the 9.8 of Darby Faree. Going back to that green Corvette. Tell you something, a 1027. That's pretty impressive stuff out there on some new Yokohama rubber. Continuing action here between Draper and Nokia. Oh, this is super. Nokia on the inside, Draper on the outside. These two coming from oval track racing will definitely know how to use both sides of the racing track, particularly when it turns right. So let's see what happens now as they get up into Sassel. We're on board with Draper. Looking to try and go around the outside. Has he got enough space? Is there enough grip out here? There might just be enough. They are now almost side by side on a mix, and driving on the inside. Good move. Draper gets through. He finds a way past Nokia, drops down one position, and down into 5th place now as they come under braking for the final turn. Not much more time in this race, and I can tell you there's still a battle here as the flag comes out, nearly getting through there. Devon Robertson taking the victory though in Class A. The GTs went to JB Britt, GT2 went to Nokia, beating out Marius Jacobs, and Cooley taking the GT3s.
Yesterday's testing in the driver did the part today. We got the car to turn and do what it needs to do.
First 4 laps I was happy, things was going good, and then suddenly I just lost boost, and then the last few laps I had to go without boost, so we're going to check out now and see why. Sad it happened on race day, but let's figure it out and hope for heat 2 we can do better.
Right, as we start heat number 2 now, down towards turn 1. Once again, Devon Robertson and Carl Stoltz getting away. JB Britt going to try and run there with Stoltz and see if he can keep him at his arm's length and have a bit of a fight with that RX-7. Right now, he's got a bit of a fight on his hands with the TT of Marius Jackson right on his tail, looking for a way through early on, and goes side by side. Whoa! Hang on a second, was that the Master Mowers boy? Yes, it was, Eugene Goos. That's kitty litter, bud. Don't worry, there's no grass here. You don't have to cut any of it. It's not a problem. Wow, big moment there for Eugene Goos, but fortunately back on track. Jacobs is on the inside. That's Draper on the outside. Jackson ahead of them. So this is going to be an interesting little battle to keep an eye on. Much better start there from Darby Fourie as well. He's just behind them as they head up to the top of the hill for the first time and under braking into Sassel Corner, closing in on JB Britt. And you can see already attacking from behind. Draper now fighting with Jacobs. Now Jacobs, as you heard, had some issues, and hopefully he's got them all sorted out. So let's see whether or not he can keep it all together now, and that boost issue is not a problem. If it isn't, he's going to be able to stick with these 4 cars, and we may have a 4-way battle for the next 10 laps. Coming out of turn 8 there, G&H Transport Corner, and you can see, oh wow, what a move there from Jacobs. Has a big look. Jackson shuts the door. Draper comes around the outside. He has to shut the door. So they are chopping and changing here, trying to find lines, and they're going to give them an opportunity to get away from their rivals. It's not easy to do here, particularly when you get into turn 2. You've got to get it all right out of turn 2. Turn 2 sets up the rest of the lap. If you get turn 2 right, everything else goes according to plan. And that's exactly what's happened there. You can see Jacobs getting a much better drive, and now looking to go through. JB didn't have a good drive. He's lost out to Jackson, and he could potentially lose out to Jacobs here, under braking into Sassel, and he's done that. JB Britt with some issues, now falling by the wayside, down into 4th or 5th place, but he comes straight back. Oh, that's great to see. No worries whatsoever, and definitely not giving up the fight. Coming straight back at the AAA car as it came out of turn number 6. Now down into the final turn, G&H Transport Corner, and as they come through there, Jacobs is under attack once again from Draper. A little bit of smoke coming out of that 300ZX. That could potentially be a problem. Let's keep an eye on that. As they go down into turn 1 again, oh, so close. Draper on the outside. On the inside, Jacobs gets through. Oh, this is a fantastic battle. Really good to see these guys putting on a show like this. A little bit of issues there. It might have been a boost problem coming out, but Draper had to go a little bit evasive to avoid going into the back end of Jacobs. Maybe he just missed a gear, but once he got the gear going and that boost came in, there's what happens when you've got that little bit extra boost. You can get past on that 300ZX, and there was no answer from JB. JB now has to worry about Draper coming from behind. Draper not too far off the back end there. Loses a little bit up the hill, but now under braking. Watch the nimble ability of that car just behind. Draper's is certainly good through the corners and through the twisties. It's on the big straight that custom shop 300ZX is going to be the car to watch out for. Oh, what's that little tap? I think it was. Rubbing is racing here at the Inland Championship. Real racing with real people. That's what it's all about. Good move on the inside, returning the favor. So Carl Stoltz just ahead of them there, staying out of trouble. Marius Jackson also a little bit further up the road, but these two have not given up yet. So Britt and Jakob still going at it. Behind them is Draper. Draper, is that a bit of an issue again coming there with Jacobs' car? We'll keep an eye on that. Cooley fighting hard, and this time it's with Joanne Cockram. Cockram, one of our fastest ladies in the country, loving life at the back end, and Richard Cooley is giving her absolute hell in the FSF Engineering RX-8. AJC Motorsport, you can see on the side there, and I'll tell you something, if you want to fight hard in a race and you get up to fight with Joanne Cockram, you're certainly going to be in with it. Couple of last turns here for our leader, and once again an incredible lap coming out of Devon Robertson on some brand new rubber. 102.6s consistently coming out of him there at the end of the race to win GTA. GT's going to Britt, GT2 to Jacobs, GT3 to Cooley, 4s to Stoltz, and 5 to Fourie.
It was very nice. We had some issues with the brakes in the first race, but it all sorted out now, hopefully. And yeah, glad I won it. It was awesome.
If you're a Volkswagen or Honda fan, join us after the break for the Yokohama NPCs.
Let's catch up with the Yokohama modified production cars.
If you're a Honda fan or a Golf fan, this is the class you want to be watching on the day, because there is some epic battles that have raged all season long.
I've managed to take the championship, but I was planning on taking the lap record for today, but the weather's not so great to do that, but we'll see what happens.
Of course, there are other factors that come into the EV Dynamics team that you want to be watching Yokohama NPCs, combined with SRA and Silver Cup. But more importantly, it's the stuff that happens on the blacks. And you can see just how good that's going to be as they head down towards turn number 1. This is where it happens. In the mid-pack here, Don McKee fighting hard. And you can see there, just squeezing through a couple of other cars that are going to come into contention in the middle of this race. There's an old 323 Mazda there, and there's an old man behind the wheel. And I'll tell you something, Fred Blichnout certainly knows what to do in that machine. Going side by side with King Kenny there, but further up you can see once again, great to have him in this field too, fighting hard. And you can see just how good that little Forenza is of Evan Seyfact. But in the mid-pack, look at how it's starting to heat up as Blichnout Jr. gets forced wide in the NPS. That Mazda's an ex-production car, and he's now fighting hard with Henshaw. Brent Henshaw now side by side with him as they come out of turn 5 into the double right-hander at Kenwood. Henshaw in the Toyota. On the outside is that Mazda NPS. And on their tail is Finikirk. Problems there on the sideline though, and spinning out. It looks like it was Don McKee. So that Golf 1, unfortunately, out of this one. Side by side, 3x3 into turn 4. And you've got Silver Cup action in the middle of the Yokohama NPCs. McClarty starting to make his way to the front end. He is fighting with both of the Ellis, Ian and Rowan, side by side. And 3x3, they go to the top of the hill again. Ella's Golf in front of the Polo and oh, look at that. I wanted to say side by side, but they're not. It's actually just squeezing through. McClarty trying to come back at the Polo of Ella's. Can he find a way through on the Jack Daniels machine? No, he can't. They go eventually and tuck in just ahead of him as they come down onto the breakers for the final turn. Keep an eye just in the background as well. Valdos Riggers, Shane Kruan and Frank and Mateo having a fantastic battle there. 2 Golf 1s and the Ford Laser. Nice to see a Ford Laser racing again. Dirk Lawrence has a very fast Honda, but there are 2, maybe 3 other cars that can run with him. One of them is normally his teammate, unfortunately with some issues in the qualifying, so Langeveld not out for the first race. They're busy working frantically to get that second Honda back into race number 2. But that doesn't mean that he's still going to be in for the fight, because Finikirk is going to give him a run, and so is Blichnout Jr. Golf 1, Mazda MPS versus the Ballard. And, good late braking coming out of the 103. And that man there is certainly on a charge. King Kenny Darroch fighting for his life and fighting for honours here between himself in the Golf 1 and that magnificent little Polo on his inside of Peck. Abraham Peck certainly knows what to do to try and keep out a hard charge. Speaking of hard charges though, the top end of the field, it's been Keegan Pottas and George Economides. Right now Economides leads out, that Martini Racing coloured Golf of his, leading the pack as they come down on the breakers, but the Honda of Pottas, I think, is just biding his time and waiting for a chance to get across the line. If he finds a way through, Economides is going to be sent to the wayside. Here we go. Kruan, the newly crowned champion, side by side with the Mateo. Golf 1 versus Laser. Go back into the sort of 90s, and this would have been a Golf 1 and Laser battle out on the streets. Here at Zwartkops, a little bit more control. The Deltec Batteries machine on the inside, EV Dynamics on the outside. If Kruan wants those Broly babes to be all over him after this race, he's going to have to beat that Laser. Coming out of Kenwood now, he goes on the inside. This will give him the inside line for G&H Transport Corner. If he can keep it all together through Mix FM. Oh, they're mixing it. There's definitely some mixing going on there as they go a little bit rubbing his racing style through Mix FM turn now. Dimateur backs out, tucks in behind the Golf. They have to try and find another way to keep that Golf at bay. And Dimateur certainly knows what to do if that's going to be the case. Ella still fighting hard, and the 2 boys there out having an absolute ball with Valdos Riggers. Riggers in the Golf 1. Just coming up from behind will be McClarty. McClarty at this stage hanging on to the front end of the SRB category in terms of SRAs and SRBs. And they are combined, of course, with Silver Cup here this weekend, as well as the Yokohama NPCs. That's just like a carbon copy. Did we just see that shot? No, we didn't. That's a different shot, but exactly the same maneuver happening with those 2. Across the line, Economides is going to get this one. Unfortunately, though, I think he might have been caught out by a jump start. We'll wait and see what happens there. Down onto the breakers, though, it looks like it's going to be, yes, Kruin just beating out the man in the laser. And that, of course, a great drive coming out of the Mateo. Pottas taking the victory as Economides gets given that jump start. Lawrence takes Class A, Swiggers takes Class B, Kruin in C's, and McClarty SRB.
That was such an awesome race with Uncle Franco. He always keeps it tight and keeps it tidy. But yeah, it was flipping fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
No, it was one of the good races that we've actually had. We qualified, I think, 15th or 16th on the grid. I mean, the car stock standard, just a bit of semis on it, and I'm having fun. I mean, with the guys who are Shane and Kenny, I mean, me and Shane, I think we rubbed more doors and more things on every circuit, at every corner. So that's what it's all about, you know. Yeah, that's what motor racing is all about, having fun, you know.
Let's go straight into race number 2 now and expect a good start. This time a lot better start coming out of the Honda of Pottas. Great start from Langeveld. Remember, he's coming from the back end of the field after they eventually got the car all sorted out, and he's already taken out Kruin. Oh, a big touch there between Kruin and himself into turn 1. Oh man, he just got back on track and he's already taken out. Shane Kruin just coming across the nose of that Honda. I think that'll probably be deemed a racing incident, but man, already action into turn 1, and that was only on lap 1, turn 1. So expect more of the same heading into the mid-pack of this race, and here we go. The Forenza squeezing through there, safe at. Lawrence is on his tail. At the front though, Pottas and Economides getting away. Just behind them, it's Vanika. Where is Henshaw? He's just behind Blichnow Jr. So the Mitz Pro Mazda fighting with that Toyota as they come out of Sassels. Dirk Lawrence trying to run with that Forenza. Not a bad thing to do, just tuck in behind it. Try and get him to pull you away from the EV Dynamics and Turbo Tricks Golf of Vanika. Here comes Langeveld. He's on the inside of Swiggers. Eller's just going defensive on Swiggers, doesn't realize that Langeveld is there. You'll have to keep an eye on him. There's going to be a little bit more work to do for Izoic panel beaters after that little tap into turn 1, but he goes around the outside and uses the additional power coming out of that little CRX. It shouldn't be too much of an issue to go around the outside of Ellers, and that's exactly what he does, coming on and then tucks onto the inside of the Polo of Ian Ellis as they get onto turn 4. So 3 Volkswagen products being shown the way around there by that Honda CRX, and Langeveld slowly but surely getting to the front. There's only a couple of cars before he gets to his arch rival and good friend and teammate, Dirk Lawrence. Look at this little battle though. 2 Golf 1s fighting hard and the Polo in between the two of them. The 2 FEC boys are trying to keep Swiggers at bay. And I tell you, Voldo Swiggers Photography probably got an onboard camera there, hopefully, and going to see exactly what we can do when it comes to great action in the Yokohama NPCs. Down onto the brakes into turn 2. Both Ellers keeping out Swiggers. Swiggers can't find a way through just yet, but maybe just biding his time, looking for a chance later on in the race. Doesn't want to show his cards too soon, otherwise they could come back at him. Oh, he's made a mistake though. At the top of the hill, he went a little bit hard and got it all out of shape into the kitty litter at Sassel. So Swiggers now fallen by the wayside and a long way back. King Kenny going at it again. 103 is Kenny. On the outside of him, it is Franklin and Matteo. And Di Matteo in the Deltec Batteries laser doing a great job as he gets up onto the top. He's certainly going to be flying the flag high, and did a super effort here in that Ford. King Kenny with no answer. The EV Dynamics man trying to close down and return the favor on that Deltec Batteries laser. But it looks like the Italian Stallion is enjoying life. Man who's not enjoying life is Economides. Economides peels off into pit lane. He's out of race number 2. That is vital. Not what you want to be doing at this stage of the championship. Swiggers on the inside of Peck. Peck with no answer. And Swiggers starts to make his way back through the field after spinning out exactly where he just locked up again. So he's having a little bit of issues into turn 5 there, but eventually gets away from the gear down gearbox man. This is a great drive from Langeveld. He probably needed about a 12 or 15 lap race if he wanted to get to right to the front. But needless to say, to come through on Paul van Niekerk, that has moved him up into the top 4 overall. And from the back of the field of almost 20 cars, that's some incredible driving coming out of Langeveld, particularly after being tagged in turn 1. Van Niekerk running wide there, maybe having some issues with a bit of understeer. Here comes Swiggers on the inside of King Kenny and possibly even on the inside of Di Matteo. Di Matteo is going to make him work a little bit harder for that position. They're looking for a possible top 10 there for Swiggers if he can get through on Di Matteo. As they get into the closing stages here, he dives on the inside for turn 2. He's got a slightly quicker car. Both of them very quick though. If you want a quick car, you've got to paint your bonnets black. That's what they got told. And that's exactly what those two have done. So, a little laser now, unfortunately giving way. And Valdo goes through. Oh, that's huge. Massive blow up down the back straight. That's the Mateo. Oh my goodness, can you believe that? Something went dramatically wrong there in the laser. And that unfortunately is going to bring his day to a very, very short and smoky close. Speaking of closes, checkered flag is out, and Pottas is going to take a double victory ahead of Paul van Niekerk for the Turbo class. Class A going to Lawrence, Class B once again to Swiggers, and a great drive from Kenny Darroch and McClarty for the wins in their categories.
Considering everything else we went through today, obviously had a good qualifying session, but then got smacked out of qualifying, couldn't make race 1. Managed to fix the car, the JDM team. And eventually we managed to come through race 2, and I think we finished second at the end of the day. So overall, yeah, it was a good one.
After the break, join us for some two-wheeled action as the Bridgestone Challenge and Sub-10s join inland.
Let's bring on the noise with the Bridgestone Challenge and Sub-10 Superbikes.
Two-wheeled action at the Inland Championship. So good to see now. These guys making up for a little bit of lost ground throughout the Extreme Festival series, and now going at it to go and battle at one of their favourite circuits. It's the Bridgestone Challenge and Sub-10s, and they line up now for race number 1. Lights out and down towards turn 1. Keep an eye on that front row. Rian Fourie coming from the back end of the second row on the 111 bike. It'll be a man to look out for. A little bit of touching going into turn number 1. That's not what you want to be doing on two wheels, that's for sure. Try and keep it all clean as they head towards turn 2. Great to see. It is awesome. 50 motorcycles all fighting hard. And remember, it's Sub-10s combined with the Bridgestone Challenge here. So Sub-10 category is the slightly higher category. Bridgestone Challenge is the one that falls in just behind them. And of course, all originating here at Zwartkops as Carl Tavares leads them into turn 4. Now, when I say originating at Zwartkops, this category was originally known as the breakfast run class and got an opportunity to come and play at Zwartkops every Sunday. They got a little more competitive, and as they got competitive, went to Peter de Toy and said, listen, let's start a racing series for all these guys and girls that are having fun at your circuit. And that's exactly where they've ended up here with the Bridgestone Challenge and Sub-10s. Coming into the mid-pack now, all of a sudden we're seeing two Kawasaki's in that front pack. One of them is Action Jackson. Byron Rothwell applying pressure though on his BMW and certainly looking for a chance to get up ahead. Ew, what a move. Look at that, just side by side as they come out of turn 3, and that's the way you do it. Looking for opportunities every single time. And now onto the braking markers. Johan Nokia doing a great job there for the Four-Ways Flyers, and he leads things out now. His teammate and the big boss man of the Four-Ways Motorcycle Group there sitting in third place as Rian Fourie looks to get around Byron Rothwell. The Mad Magic and Jay's Consulting BMW is keeping him at bay, but he runs wide on his own. Tavares on the inside of Kun Erasmus. Erasmus trying to keep it all together. And just behind them, keep an eye out on Andre van Staden and Conrad Clark. Mid-pack battles also one to keep an eye on too. There you can see, that's awesome to see. Augustin and Tuari, first time as two riders are down. Oh no, can you believe that? Henny Swanepoel and Jackson coming together. Swanepoel and Action Jackson unfortunately crashing out, and there's another rider down. Is that Lundy? Yes, it is. Lundy Sinden on the Milwaukee Yamaha, unfortunately out, so we're going to have to restart this one. Too many bikes in too many precarious positions there. The Milwaukee Yamaha being loaded onto the back of the trailer. We'll do a restart. Down towards turn 1 they go again. This time everybody trying to stay upright. Tavares once again with a whole shot around the outside. Johan Nokia. Got for Rian Fourie coming through the middle, and Kun Erasmus also in that front pack right from the word go. The 67 bike of Kun Erasmus is looking very good. Byron Rothwell not getting the start he wanted. Look at Big Joe Herbig on that naked MV Augusta going on the outside and trying to find an early run to that top 10. Those guys all fighting for sub-10 honours, and just once again to remind everybody, sub-10s is the bigger class. That's the one that has the slightly faster lap times, and when I say sub-10, that's exactly what I mean. If you do under 1 minute 10 here at Zwartkops or in your racing, you will be moved into the sub-10 category. As you move your way through, of course, sub-10s moves up to Thunder Bikes, and from Thunder Bikes you can move on to the National Championship Motorcycles or into the ZX10R Masters Cup. Now under braking, you can see he's chopping and changing, trying to find the lines that are required. Hendrik Erasmus also battling to get through the field there a little bit. Hasn't quite got to the front. Speaking of getting to the front though, here comes a move from Rian Fourie. Ferrari on the four-ways flyer, Kawasaki ZX-10 gets to the front end, and he now leads out. There's Hendrik Erasmus, starting to make his way through rapidly. Gonna fight hard with his brother as well, and they come side by side. Hendrik's on the inside this time, very easily done. It looks like those two BMWs now gonna fight for honours in second and third place. Keep an eye out though on Johan Nokia. He's not too far off the back of those two BMWs. Oh, big mistake. Little bit too hard, little bit too fast, heading into that one. And unfortunately, Jens Venter crashing out there. 111 across the line though, no worries whatsoever. And in fact, a massive 10-second differential between Rian Ferrari and Kun Erasmus there for the first win of the day in Bridgestone Challenge. Nokia comes through for third, Rothkool in fourth. A great ride from Kyle Tavares on the Frost Racing Honda to finish up in fifth.
Very happy, started off in 31st and ended 14th. So I dropped quite a few spaces and it was a good race. Hoping I can drop a few more and I'll be happy.
Renault Kruger, you're doing a great job, but you just got to keep an eye on those lap times. Don't go too quickly though, otherwise you'll be moving up into the sub-10 category. Stand by now for race number 2. Four-ways flyers on the front row there with Kun Erasmus. Let's see who's going to get the drop. It's a great start coming out of Johan Nokia. Not such a good one from Rian. Rian didn't quite get the hammer down and he falls into about 5th or 6th place as they go into turn 1. Henny Swanepoel is back in the race. So is Garrett Action Jackson. And there you can see Lundy Sinden as well. So all 3 of our crashes, hopefully Jens Venter, the 4th one, has also been able to get his bike sorted out and is back into contention here for race number 2. Coming out of turn 2 as they head up towards turn 3. Just looking further back there to see if I can spot that 777. It's an all-black bike, and I think I just saw him in the background. So everybody that crashed out in race number 1 is back on track now for race 2. Hendrik Erasmus not getting the start he wanted and having to go around the high side there of Byron Rothkool. The 2 BMWs will be evenly matched in terms of their ability on the track, but it's the rider skill that comes into play now. Great late braking coming out of Rothkool, and Rothkool making Hendrik Erasmus sit up in turn 5. Rothkool not holding back here. There's no doubt about it. He wants to be at the front end. And that Jay's Consulting and Magic Mag machine doing a super job. He goes on the breakers on the inside of Tavares. Tavares is going to lose out to 1 BMW, potentially 2. Keep an eye just behind as well. The WHC Racing Ducati Panigale there of Cliffy Ogle. He's running in the Thunderbike category Class C. So there actually are a couple of Thunderbikes on track at the moment as well with this class, running as part of this championship round. And looking pretty tasty there. It looks like Cliffy Ogle might be looking to take the Thunderbikes here for the overall on the day. 2 ZX-10s at the front, both out of the 4-ways motorcycles shop and doing a great job to make it 1 and 2. It's BMWs 3, 4 and 5 though, and it's Rothkool who keeps out both of the Erasmus boys. Tavares on the Honda just behind them. Here comes Hendrik under braking for turn 2. He gets on the inside. Byron Rothkool, no answer there. He's going to try and come back at him a little bit later on if he can stay with Hendrik Erasmus's pace. Hendrik is looking to close down on his 2 very good rivals at the front end on those ZX-10s. And that, of course, is Nokia and Ferrari. Tavares now being closed in. Another man to come into play here. All of a sudden, we've got Conrad Clark. He is on the 247 Idubi Projects Kawasaki ZX-10 there. And Andre van Staden, the Vape Guru's Yamaha, in that little battle too. Into some back markers now. That could be potentially a little bit of a change-up, and it is. Good move there from Ogle. Cliffy Ogle dives on the inside of that back marker and makes up 1 position. Dropping Kun Erasmus down into what is going to be 6th place overall. So a little bit of opportunistic riding coming out of Ogle, but it worked out well for the WHC man. Hendrik Erasmus up into 2nd now. Nokia, foot off onto the little curb there as he went through trying to cut the line. Try to come back, but it looks like that ZX-10 has no answer. And the BMW now is going to be the meat in the sandwich. The leader once again, this time 14 seconds ahead of anybody who is even close to him. So a great ride from the big boss man of 4-ways flyers. Not such a good wheelie though. Hendrik Erasmus comes through for 2nd, Nokia in 3rd, Rothkool in 4th, and 2nd in the Thunderbike Class Cs was Cliffy Ogle on the Ducati down in 5th.
The first race was chaos. Lots of oil, dust on the track. This race was much better. Smooth, fast, and safe.
Up next, it's the friendly guys, the Bardel Midval Historic Car Club.
Friendly, yes, off the circuit. On the track though, it's no holds barred. And that's exactly what we're expecting now. A couple of new cars coming into play here this weekend, and a couple of usual contenders that are going to be looking to show those new boys exactly how to get around. One of them will be certainly at the front, and Eugene Goos has had a busy day, but that Can-Am of his has got some great pace. He's going to be pushed hard though. As you can see, there's a little Volkswagen Jetta, Andre de Lange, and another Volkswagen Sirocco of Yanni van Rooyen, who are right there. Then you've got the Datsuns, and there is about 5,000 of them in this class. Anything that has a Datsun badge on usually ends up in this category, and they usually end up that close. Travis Jensen out front at the moment, fighting hard and looking for a chance to beat France and Pedder. So family rivalry as well. They're all similar looking cars in terms of exactly the machinery, but of course different livery. One yellow, one blue, and one red. CFP Fourie Senior forcing De Lange high and wide around turn 5. He's on the inside. On the outside and in the kitty litter is Johan Kutzer Jr. Didn't quite get that one right, but probably going to have enough time to come back onto the track and just avoid. Was that Tripod? Yes, it was. Tripod Travis coming on the inside of him, just squeezing through there. Oh, problems down in turn 2. E150, that's not where you want to be parked, that is for sure. Rene van Rensburg looks like he's come together there with the 7 car, and that is a big, well, it's a costly one for Ken Price. Let's just put it that way. The Can-Am leads out. Fourie is on his tail, trying to close down. That's impressive driving coming out of Fourie Senior. Right on their tail is that little Volkswagen Fox, or the Volkswagen Jetta 1, actually should say, there of Andre de Lange. 180 in the little mid-pack battle there, that is David Hall, and of course he was fighting initially with Rene van Rensburg and Price. He's now fighting with the man who's come back on track, fired up, and that is Kutzer Jr. Just behind there, Mossi Mostert, keep an eye out on Kutzer Senior, Johan Roots in there as well, and Travis Jensen. There's a move for second place, and Yanni van Rooyen showing the line and how to get into turn 5 there to Fourie Senior. De Lange, oh, what a drive. That N4 Autocraft Jetta of his has definitely turned a couple of wheels in anger and is now becoming a big threat in this championship. There's a couple of new Jettas a bit further back in the field as well. And a big resurgence for that Jetta Mark 1. And nice to see them in full flight. And of course a lot of the cars being developed for that Passion for Speed Festival here at the beginning of 2018 in January. Cars on the sideline, Ken Price watching from the sideline, thinking to himself, hang on a second, I could be in the mix here. Didn't quite work out though in race 1. Datsun, a little wheel lock into turn 4. Jetta on the outside. De Lange, probably one of the most underrated drivers in this country, and particularly in a front wheel drive. You will not get anything better than his ability behind the wheel of a car, and he's now showing it. To go around the outside of Fourie Senior in a slightly quicker Datsun, you know that you're going to have to work hard, and he's done everything right to get up to 3rd. Can he keep Senior out now? It's only a couple of laps to go for those guys. Rene van Rensburg has made his way back on track, and he's now trying to come up on the inside of Jensen. So even though he spun out, he got going again. Unfortunately, Ken Price didn't. So the 2 Jensen boys being shown the way around there by the slightly faster Mark 2 Escort. Heading down towards turn 2 now. 2 Datsun trying to stay with him as the Can-Am comes under braking for the final time. The Master Mose Can-Am there of Eugene Goos going to take the win here in the first race of the Bardel Midval Historic Car Club. Goos takes A, Yanni van Rooyen takes D's, London takes the E's, Frans Jensen takes F, G going to Roots, and H going to Draper.
It was very good. A lot of pressure from behind from the Kutzers and from the Mostert family, Jacques and his dad Mossi, and then great race though.
The selection of the gears is non-existent at that stage, so I got into turn 2. I was chasing Yanni van Rooyen there, and then as I got onto the back of him there was no gear selection. So hoping that something would come right, but we've got to go and do our homework again. Disappointing day, but that's racing. We're back next time.
It's never good to see a man like Brendan Parker out of the race, and you can see a couple of guys working frantically to get their cars all sorted out. Frans Jensen being one of them at 1200 GX. Paddy Vensky brings a bit of Toyota Corolla feel to the field too, and I'm sure he's going to be looking forward to a big battle in Class F as they make their way around turn 8. Rolling start time, and oi! Already accident in the background. Hello! That's a little Jetta 1 getting out of shape. I think it might have been Martin Fenter, but as they get underway now down into turn 1, it is big action expected. Anton Voss in the GX Coupe going side by side there with Tripod Travis. The reason he's called Tripod is that usually that car is on 3 wheels. It's never ever on all 4. And that's how hard he pushes, and he's having to push hard because he's got to have to fight not only with everybody else out there, but with his entire family as well. As they come out of turn 2 onto the back straight now, it's turn 3. And hard braking at the top end of the field, it's De Lange on Van Rooyen. Here we go. Volkswagens at dawn, Datsun's behind, Ford Escort's there as well, Datsun Triple S is coming into play too, and then a little Mark II Escort of René van Rensburg looking to make up lost ground, as will Ken Price, who's also back in the mix in the SV Tech Datsun GX Coupe. Down into turn 1, that is awesome. 2 of the top Volkswagen drivers in this category, and they are side by side, and still side by side into turn 2. De Lange hangs on to the inside line. Van Rooyen's on the outside. Very close between the two of them, and Siegfried Senior sitting waiting for something to go wrong between those two Volkswagens. He would love to pounce and get through on the two of them. Eugene Koos getting away. The battle for second is certainly heating up. Yanni van Rooyen, De Lange and Fourie all going at it. Just behind them, David Hall not too far off in that Mark I Escort. René van Rensburg giving him a bit of a run, and they're still fighting hard there with the SV Tech Coupe of Ken Price. Into Sassel. Fourie just getting ahead and just getting through there on the Jetta. So 999 N4 auto body man is going to have to work hard as they come through there. Look at this, a little further back there. You can see Ken Price just showing Roots the way through. Johan Roots had been give way there to the charge coming from Price as he starts to tick them off. Now, as they get into that mid-pack, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because he's getting into cars that are on similar lap times to what he's able to do in that SV Tech Datsun Coupe. Coming up on, that's Junior, Kutzer Junior. Just ahead there will be Jensen. So I think he's just going to have to find a little bit more pace and maybe just get a bit more wily in terms of his racecraft. He's on the inside line out of 3. That's not a bad place to be. Which means he'll be able to pull through nicely. Maybe even get Jensen under the roll-off point. They don't really break. Some of the cars will break and maybe go down one gear here, but most of them will just roll off and get back onto the loud pedal as they go through turn 4 to try and keep those front wheels turning as well as pulling the car forward. Down on the breakers, that is the leader. Look at the battle for second though, as Fourie is now closed onto the back end of Van Rooyen. Yanni van Rooyen's going to have his work cut out for him, but to the line just keeps out Siegfried Senior. De Lange just behind them for 1, 2 and 3 and D. Koos taking A's, Hall takes E's, Jensen once again in the F's, Venter in G, and Johan Venter takes Class H.
After a very bad start this morning, things did improve. I put some wet weather tyres on because it looked like the track was wet, and there was a punch on the first lap. I didn't even do one lap. So I started right at the back of the field in the first race, came up to 6th, and yeah, I had a hard one this time. I finished 5th, yeah. So good day all round.
After that kind of action, you want to be at Red Star Raceway for the final round, the Viking Race Day at Red Star Raceway. The Inland Championship are going to bring you the final round of our real people doing real racing.